Okay, so we're going to make a motion tween now. So when you open up Flash, Action Script 3, I'm going to zoom up mine to 200%. Remember your layers are down here, timeline, tools, library, properties, and we're on scene 1. Now this one's a little bit different. We have to make a symbol, and this is where we can start to draw certain little characters, or even you can get photos and edit them in Photoshop and then import them. A little bit different to just drawing directly onto the scene. So first thing we're going to do is create a symbol, and then the symbol will show up in the library when we've made it. So we go Insert, New Symbol. So let's just call it shape, whatever, just shape. And it should be a graphic. Yours might be on movie clip, but we want it to be a graphic. And then go OK. So now we're in the editing section for symbols. And you can see up the top here we've got shape, and then if we wanted to go back to scene 1, we'd just click on that. So this is like a separate piece of paper, like a rough copy kind of paper to do our drawing on. And it's got its own timeline down here and its own layers as well. So we're just going to start off with a really simple shape. Like the other ones, we're just starting really slow and simple, and just, again, selecting the colors that you want. And just draw a shape. And that's our shape here. That's the shape. And now we want to go back to scene 1. So up the top here, scene 1. So nothing's on our scene, on our background, except we can see over here in library, we have a shape now, and that's our circle. So on frame 1, so we want the red playhead to be on frame 1, we want to click on shape here and drag it onto our scene. If it's too big or too small, get your free transform tool and make it the size that you want it to be. Move it to where you want it to be also. Now the motion tween is different to the other tweens because it's going to let us move around in arcs or in non-linear ways. So the classic tween and the shape tween were linear in terms of they moved across but in straight lines. So motion tween lets us move in arcs or curves, and also lets us have a little loop in there, which we'll talk about later. But the process is different. We don't add a keyframe. We stay on number 1. We add our shape there, and then while still on frame 1, you right click and create motion tween. And you can see it automatically jumps to 24 because this is 24 frames per second. And we're just going to keep it at 24 for now. Usually we have it on 12, but we'll keep it on 24, so it's going to be quite quick. And the playhead is also on 24 because it's now suggesting that I decide where I want this circle to be at frame 24. So again, getting my black arrow and clicking on the circle and say I want it to be over here. Now what's different, it's still linear because I haven't changed the line. You can see that these little dots appear on the line. So frame 1, my circle's at the front of this is the start of this line, and by 24 it's at the end. And if I press play, it'll look like my other tweens. But the difference is that this line, you see how my arrow has a little curve next to it? I can bend this line. So if I click on it and move, see how it's curved now? So if I press play, it's curving. Before they were just moving in a straight line. So now we've got a curve. If I want to add, if I want this to be longer, see this arrow, when I go on the end, I can click on that and drag it out to 50 if I want. So say in the middle here, I want it to move around and not just go in a smooth arc. I want it to be a bit more random. if I put my playhead on somewhere in the middle, like 20, and I click on this circle here, I can move it a bit still. And I can move this around. You see how when I've changed it now, when I went back up here, it's more of a wave shape now. So if I press play, and the circles kind of show you that they're spaced out, so it's going to be a bit quicker, and then they're close together, so it'll be a bit slower. So quick, and then it kind of slows down. And you can see where I made that point to move it. There's a little circle there. So say at 35, maybe I want something else to happen. So I can make it zoom across here. If you want to see what it looks like more than once, it's going to play it through once. If you want it to keep playing so you can have a good look at what's happening, this little loop button, you see it's going to loop that. So I just need to drag that all the way to the end. If I press play when loop is on, it just starts automatically. So you can have a look at that. And press play. Or if you just want to play a certain section over and over again, you can drag the loop slide bar. It's just going to loop that part. Right. So I'll just take it off loop. You can also, at different positions, you can insert keyframes and change the position, scale, skew, rotation. Because it's a circle, obviously the rotation's not really going to do anything. But you could do scale as well, which probably isn't going to do much either. But with the free transform tool, you can make it bigger. So when I play from the beginning, it's going to get bigger. So if I want it to, by this stage, to be smaller again, you can only change the shape when there's a keyframe there, so a little circle. Otherwise, it's just going to stay the same. So if we play that from the beginning, it should get bigger and smaller the whole way through.